Hey guys, welcome to the FitTown Show. My name is Coach Andrew and I'm here with Coach Tony, and we're going to be talking today about all things de-affiliating from CrossFit, everything that's happened over the last month plus since the rebrand of FitTown Jupiter, our thoughts on the new direction of CrossFit, and then we're going to be revealing our new class name at the end of this for what we're going to be calling our formerly known CrossFit classes into the future. Okay, so wanted to start by just kind of talking about the de-affiliation from CrossFit. You guys saw that a few weeks ago, and sort of the logic behind that. For us, it definitely did not feel like a knee-jerk decision to do that. It felt a little rushed to make that decision, but it definitely did not feel like a knee-jerk decision. It's something that we've been thinking about for well over a year and really talking about in serious detail for several months now with the rebrand process to FitTown Jupiter. So you could see it as almost like a final straw, but that would make it seem like we were really upset with CrossFit. So it wasn't necessarily a final straw, but it was sort of the thing that kind of pushed us over the edge to say, you know what, it is time to make that decision for us, this decision we've been, considering for a really long time. So is there anything you want to add to that, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, we're just hoping by giving you guys a look into like our thoughts as a business, like you might find some like principles and stuff that you could apply to life. I recently put out a podcast with making a personal mission statement, which a lot of businesses do, but I wanted to apply that to people's personal lives. So maybe we'll talk about some things today, kind of like the visions we have through rebranding that might help you guys just in your everyday life. But
Yeah, so as it comes to the de-affiliation, Greg Glassman had one heck of a weekend with the comments he made, and we fully disagree with the comments and sort of the ignorance and you could argue whether they were racist or not, but they were definitely ignorant comments to be made. And it wasn't just his words or his lack of action over those few days, but it was really a bigger sign of, okay, these values that we've been defining for ourselves really for the last 3 or 4 years. When we first opened our gym, we didn't have core values. That wasn't even a thing. And when we started to develop core values and we started to hire and fire based on those core values, we started to do things within the business based on those core values, then those started to become a lot more meaningful to us. And seeing Greg's comments and things that had happened over the last few years, it became clear that, okay, our values are not fully aligned. And do we want to have a business that's really value-based? Like, we feel like it's a very strong part of who we are in our identity as a business. Do we want to have a strong value-based business and then not be living up to those values or be susceptible to someone else's values or lack of values, really? And that's what made the decision very clear for us, is like, no, we've spent all this time defining our values and we want to fully step into those. We want to fully live those. And even if it is someone, even if Greg was this person that we were really looking up to, which this next CEO could be that person, we like the person that's coming in, do we still want to be sort of at the mercy of someone else's values?
And that's where we were just like, that is, the final straw to say, you know what, we've said it at the start of our rebrand. We said it in our rebrand announcement. We don't want anyone else's values speaking for us. We want our own values speaking for us. We want our own brand speaking for us, and we don't want to be at the mercy of someone else's, values and actions. And we want what we do to speak for ourselves. I feel like kind of beating this point over and over again, but we don't want people telling us what we are. We don't want people walking into our gym and say, well, you don't do this, you're supposed to be a CrossFit gym. And I think that's really where we're like, you know what, we've done enough to define who we are through the almost 8 years we've been here, and supported our community and grown our community with only so much help from CrossFit. And I think we felt like way before this interaction, this conflict with Greg, years before this, that we were moving away from the brand and living into our own values, as Andrew said.
Yeah, it's very much like removing the training wheels for us, removing that crutch and just stepping into fully who we want to be moving forward and who we want to evolve to be moving forward. And I think one thing that that I want the community to understand, the people that do really are heavily bought into CrossFit, is that as a gym owner, we don't really get a lot from CrossFit in exchange for the affiliate. And I've never really had a problem with it. If you go on like a CrossFit affiliate owners Facebook group, you have plenty of gym owners in there complaining that, oh my God, I pay $3,000 a year for this fee and I get nothing in return. And I've never felt that way. I've always thought it was a fair exchange. But realistically, there is not a lot there in terms of communication. Like, we hear things as the general public does. We don't get like emails that are telling stuff that you couldn't just see by going to CrossFit's social media page or going on to CrossFit.com. We've never really gotten communication like that outside of what the general public sees. And yeah, like in exchange for that fee, like they're not really given a lot of business guidance or, there's benefits to having the freedom to be able to run your business the way you want, but there's also benefits to having resources where you can learn more about how to run a successful business. And I think CrossFit's always been very focused on the training side of things, which I think they're one of the best in the world at it, arguably the best in the world at the things they do really well. And we'll probably continue to support them in that way. But when it comes to the affiliate side, it always felt like an afterthought. It always felt like, yeah, just give us this money and we'll let you use the name, and that's kind of the end of the relationship. So knowing we have this new brand, FitTown, and CrossFit's just one class name, it's one thing that we do, is it really worth it for us to have like our horse in this race?
Yeah, and I think you said it, like comfort. Like, I think a lot of people in the CrossFit affiliate world right now are questioning whether or not they should stick with CrossFit because that's what they know. And I think sometimes when we choose to grow as businesses, as people, we need to make these harder decisions, which sadly to say took us kind of too long to make this decision. But you have to take that leap. You have to take that leap that you're just going to go for it and kind of break off from what's comfortable to know that you're going to grow in this new path that you're taking.
Yeah, so two of the questions that we're asking ourselves as we're going through this is, number one, what would CrossFit have to do to get us to want to stay? Like, to not just be romantic about how good things were back in the day, but if we were really like thinking about this, like what would they have to do to get us to want to stay? And then the second thing is, if we were launching a new gym today and we had sort of this blank slate, this freedom of choice, would we choose to be a CrossFit affiliate today? And through talking about those, discussing those questions, it became very clear for us to move forward without it. And I think that's a good question for all of you. Tony said, let's translate this to helping you guys out there. I think that's a really good thing that you guys can understand in any, whether you're looking at your career, whether you're looking at your relationship with our gym, right? We don't want people to feel like because you had a life-changing transformation with us that you have to be at our gym for the next 20 years of your life, even if you're unhappy. You choose to be in this relationship every day. You choose this business relationship. You choose your spouse every single day. You choose your career every day. And if it ever gets to the point where it no longer feels like a choice for you to be in that thing, then I think it's time for you to evaluate moving on. And so much of us look at the opportunity cost of everything that's led up to this point, instead of saying, well, if I could start today, would I choose this career? Knowing everything I know now, would I choose this career? Knowing everything I know about the gym, would I continue to come here? Knowing everything I know about my husband or my wife, would I choose to marry them again? I think those are important questions to ask. And you don't have to necessarily just turn your back on those things. Some of those things just need to be worked on. They need to be addressed. We felt like with this relationship, our relationship with CrossFit, it was time to move on. We feel like we have enough of our own thing going that's really strong that it's time for us to move on. But I think you guys might be in some areas of your life where that thing just needs improvement. It needs attention, intention. It doesn't necessarily need to be walked away from.
Yeah, and I think a good way to look at this is like we've coming up on 8 years with affiliation with CrossFit, and we feel like we've all evolved a lot over those 8 years. We don't see that same evolution in CrossFit, and especially in the way they've treated the affiliates. And we look back on some of the things we did in 2012 and 2013, some of the workouts we've done, and it's kind of laughable. And I think that's kind of a good guide for life and like personal life. Like if you kind of look back at your social media from 7 to 8 years ago, like do you laugh at it and say like, wow, like I've really evolved as a person since then. And I think that's a really good guide for a business and for your personal life, to just say like, am I evolving? Am I getting better? Am I living into my values more every day? And kind of look back and say like, okay, evolution has happened here.
Yeah, one of the simplest places that we've seen that show up is with sort of the strict versus kipping debate in CrossFit. And I heard Greg Glassman, this was years ago, he was in an interview and said if there's anything he could change about CrossFit, it would be devaluing the kipping pull-up. He just felt like it got to be a little bit more prevalent than he would have liked. He still likes the movement, but he would have liked it to be devalued enough where strict would have been seen as the priority, and a lot more people, especially in the affiliate setting, would have been encouraged to do more strict pull-ups and strict toes to bar and strict dips over kipping versions of those movements. And even though he said that, we haven't seen that mindset or that sentiment be applied to the training and the methodology, the level 1 and the level 2 and the level 3 that Tony and I have both gone through, all 3 levels with CrossFit. We haven't seen that really be openly stated. The train, I mean, it's the best training methodology that I've ever seen in terms of well-rounded fitness. It's awesome. At the same time, it's not just a static point. You have to continue to evolve. You need to continue to see where you could make improvements. And that was one place that we didn't see evolve, that we've evolved over the years to kind of just take that step ourselves.
Yeah, the best coaches are the best students, right? The best coaches are set on learning more, learning from other people, learning from other industries. I think that's another reason that we want to see ourselves kind of grow outside of CrossFit, is just looking to other businesses, other business models, see who else is doing well in the fitness world, and just be influenced by all these positive people in our realm, in our fitness world, and be a positive force together, and not just really stand on one leg or be kind of in one box with every other CrossFit gym. We want to grow together in the whole fitness space.
Yeah, and you had talked about this, what I thought was so interesting is one of the things that we want to continue to support with CrossFit, that we love about it, is how they're taking on sort of these big companies like Big Soda and some of the regulations in regards to giving nutrition advice. For those of you guys that don't know, like we have to work with Healthy Steps Nutrition because they have a registered dietitian on staff in order for us to give out nutrition advice. Otherwise, it'd be illegal for us to tell you to eat more vegetables, essentially, like really simple, basic stuff, because that's the law in Florida. And Greg's been very much about defending the liberties and the open sourceness of being able to provide nutrition advice as a fitness coach that wants to help people. And we really wanted to continue to support CrossFit in doing that and having that mission. But as Tony and I were talking about it before the show, it's almost better if you have the entire gym industry moving towards that, because that's not something that's just solely helping CrossFit. That's something that's going to help all gyms, Orange Theory coaches, and F45 and yoga studios. All of them can benefit from these sort of rights that are being taken away, so that way it can be owned by organizations that Pepsi and Gatorade and other companies like that are funding, so they can kind of control the narrative. It's the one thing that we felt like we needed to stick with CrossFit to kind of continue to support. As we talked about it more, we kind of found that, we're actually better if we get all gym owners separate from each other to support this cause, and we don't have to be necessarily aligned or under the name CrossFit in order to fight this.
Yeah, and like a year ago when we first started talking about like the rebranding, we did talk about the CrossFit de-affiliation a year ago. Like that was hand in hand the topic of rebranding. Like, do we want to rebrand to something that remains a CrossFit gym? And I think we saw like our de-affiliation even a year ago, like that was taking away from like the foundation and the strength that the CrossFit community had, and we're stronger together. Like I think that resonated in my head, because I feel like you know, just as we've learned over the 2 months, 3 months of quarantine, it's like, man, people are having harder times getting the workouts in because we're not together. And when we're together, we're stronger together. And I really thought that and believed that in the CrossFit world, but now I'm rethinking that and re-seeing that to like, you know what, like, we don't have to just be one voice. We don't have to be one voice of CrossFit affiliates. If we do want to take on big soda, big pharma, these people that want to silence, our fight for true health in this world, we're going to do it in our own ways and join together when needed. But I think we'll have stronger voices if we all come from kind of different sides and attack it from different sides.
Yeah. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the new direction of CrossFit, our thoughts on it. I know some people are interested because I've got a lot of questions on it from members in the gym. And, I think we're both really excited about the new direction of CrossFit. And whether we're on the CrossFit train as an affiliate or not, we want to see CrossFit do well. We don't want it to see it just disappear, especially with the changes that they've made of the recent CEO and taking action to move in this new direction without Greg. So, we're excited for it. I think the new CEO couldn't be a better fit. I mean, they picked someone who's a successful business owner, and from what I saw about his tech business that he sold, it was named like one of the best places to work. So he's a guy that values and culture, things like that. He's an athlete, a CrossFit athlete himself, not a competitive one, but a general fitness one, which I think is a good case scenario for this type of position. And he's an affiliate owner. And you could argue that he doesn't know the struggles of an affiliate owner as someone who has enough money to buy CrossFit, but he understands it enough that I think he can really relate to the affiliates and put them back on the pedestal. I mean, the thing that we've seen in our history is like the media around CrossFit has either been game centric or it flipped the other way to like old people training at home on the couch with these weird blue jugs of water. And there's this like big missing piece in the middle of like what's happening in affiliates. I mean, every single affiliate has these stories of people losing, 50, 100 pounds. You got a teenager working next to their parents and grandparents in the same gym. Like that stuff's really cool, and those stories haven't been told. So my hope is that because this person is ingrained in an actual affiliate as an athlete and as an owner, we'll see more of that moving forward.
Yeah, and we've loved where the direction they're going. Like seeing some people that have left CrossFit come back, like Nicole Carroll coming back to the head of training for CrossFit. I think they're doing some good things, and we're still happy to learn from CrossFit and again be influenced by everything they're doing there.
Yeah, and going back to like if you were starting fresh, would you choose this relationship? We have other relationships with other training methodologies that are strong relationships for us that we don't choose to be an affiliate of them. So just to give you a broader view of this, CrossFit has three main legs. They have the games, they have the affiliates, and they have the training side. So the games is obviously like the Open and the CrossFit Games. The affiliate side is us as a gym where we pay to use the CrossFit Palm Beach name. And then the training side is the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And from what we understand, the training side is actually how they make the majority of their money. But when it comes to, I lost my train of thought. When it comes to the training side, we work with other companies that help us with training that we are not affiliates of. So Precision Nutrition and HSN have given us guidance in our nutrition program. Active Life has worked with us on the injury prevention side and the mobility side of things. We've worked with USAW for weightlifting coaches. And we have all these different certifications and training methodologies that we're incorporating into what we do here, but we're not choosing to be affiliates of those companies. So again, it can be easy to look at, well, you've been an affiliate for these many years and you're turning your back on them. But I think you have to look at, number one, we can support them in other ways. We can continue to go to level 1s and level 2s if we feel like it's a good fit. And just because you agree with someone's methodology doesn't mean you necessarily have to be that brand moving forward and represent yourself as that brand moving forward.
Yeah, 100%.
You want to talk about the name?
Yeah. One last thing I want to say, kind of about like, again, growing away from CrossFit, not going away from CrossFit, but growing away from CrossFit, is like there's this saying when you're trying to learn something, like stand on the shoulders of giants. Like from the people that have already been there, done that, learn from them, listen to them, stand on their shoulders and see what you can learn by getting the leg up from what they've learned and their mistakes, and not necessarily making your own mistakes when they've already made them for you. And I think we've just kind of grown to find new giants. Like you said, like Active Life has been a great ally for us to learn from, and Precision Nutrition, and we're finding new giants to learn from. And I think, as a business we're doing this, but again, if you guys are looking for things to take away from this in your personal life, that's another one. It's like kind of learn from others' mistakes, but once that you are the smartest person in that room, it's time to find a new room. It's time to find new giants and learn from new people.
Yeah, and not that we're trying to brag that we're the best CrossFit gym out there, but we went like this past summer, a year ago. We went to a seminar out in Oregon, and just seeing a lot of the questions that other affiliate owners were asking, it felt like, okay, a lot of those things are things that we had addressed many, many years ago. And if we're paying money to go to a seminar with other gym owners out there, and we feel like we're kind of like the smartest one in the room besides like the presenters there, it's very eye-opening for us of like, okay, what is that next thing that's going to push us, that's going to get us out of our comfort zone and force us to grow? And we really feel like this is the next big step for us. So talk new class name. All right. So the new class name that we came up with, that we're moving forward with, is FTX. And basically the thought behind this is, number one, we want it to represent what is the methodology here. And the methodology, yes, it's CrossFit, but if you think about CrossFit, it's really cross-training. Cross-training is the broader category of what we've been doing for, even CrossFit kind of built their methodology off the back of this idea of cross-training. So we wanted to be able to describe our methodology in a way that represented what we do, not just what we don't do. And by having that X in there, that's representative of cross-training for us. And cross-training is strength training, body weight movements, and cardio. All right. If you think about any workout you do in here, we're usually doing a combination of those three things: strength training, body weight, and cardio. And we're doing those in different combinations. And then the other thing that we really like about the name, besides the fact that we think it sounds cool, is that it puts the focus back on the real name, which is FitTown, the main brand. It doesn't take away from that. It only adds value to that by having those initials in there. So we'll be describing it as our FitTown cross training program, but FTX will be the name that you guys will hear the most. You'll see on the website, and how we'll be listing it on Zen Planner when you register for classes.
And we're continuing to stick with Beach Fit as the name of the other program. It is a really awesome name, and it does possibly take away from the FitTown name at times because people just love saying it to their friends. But we couldn't do away with it. We just love everything the program has evolved to, and the workouts that you get in there every day. And we think FTX and Beach Fit will be really nice complements of each other, and be different enough from each other and have their own essences to enjoy.
Yeah, and I have to answer this question. I haven't gotten this a lot, but I imagine some people are thinking about, like, does anything have to change in the classes? And I think you've addressed it in emails, like nothing has to change unless we want it to change. We talked a lot about evolution in this podcast, and our programming and class experience has evolved a lot over the years. So it hopefully for you guys, your sake and our sake, we continue to evolve. We don't know what those exact evolutions will look like, but as we continue to learn what works and what doesn't, we're going to continue to evolve that program. I mean, if you think about, like, one simple example of that is, if you guys have noticed that have been in CrossFit for a while, like, we don't do kipping handstand push-ups anymore. And one of the reasons we don't do that is not because we don't think it's a cool movement, but we've just found that the risk versus reward for that movement isn't there. And you can have fun getting upside down with strict handstand push-ups. You can have fun getting upside down with handstand walking. We'll keep doing those things. But when it came to a kipping handstand push-up and putting that much weight on your spine with your head resting on the floor, we found that a lot of our best athletes, your wife included, Shannon, like a great athlete who has plenty of strength to do the movement, and she's got neck issues and headaches from doing that movement. And there was other instances over the years that happened. And that's one of the things that we do evaluate with our programming is risk versus reward. What is the reward you get for this movement, and what's the risk you're taking on by performing this thing? And we felt with that movement in particular that there's no reason for it to be in a fitness program, even one that has a lot of competitive people in it, like a lot of us are. There's other ways you can compete. There's other ways you can challenge yourself. There's other ways you can get upside down. And we're always kind of evaluating that risk versus reward, and something we'll continue to do moving forward. But we feel like we've found a nice sweet spot. We don't see any major changes happening with the programming, but I'm sure there will continue to be little evolutions with time.
Yeah, and that's just another, again, thing that we wish that came out of CrossFit as far as like principles and training, risk versus reward that we didn't really see over the years. So CrossFit, if you're listening, make sure you put that in there.
Yeah. But thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us emails. We have new email addresses now, Andrew at FitTown.com and Tony at FitTown.com. And we'll see you guys soon.